I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone in progression, it's all that I wanted. The phone in affection, I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something.
Man, you're listening to the Urban Sports Scene. I'm kind of geeked. I'm not gonna lie. I had one of my favorites. Like, it's going to be on the show. She's like my favorite. She's my favorite. Actually, my favorite Commanders reporter by far. Won't even lie to you guys. Folks have heard. I've had multiple reporters on the show. She's my favorite. So, FYI, if people want smoke, and folks who have been on my show, and they're like, "Yo, I've been on your show too," I'm like, "Man, you ain't my favorite. Though. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'll say it to your face too. You know what I mean? But I love you all. I'm just saying. This person is my favorite. But anyway, if you didn't know, it's time to talk Washington Commanders. I'm Wole. I'm your host. And make sure you subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search the Urban Sports Scene. Make sure you subscribe to the Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel. If you're in the YouTube chat, we accept Super Chats. Super Chats help us support our show. The Super Chats will be prioritized over all comments in the chat. You can also check out our website, which is www.urbansportscene.com. Don't forget to tweet us at Urban Sports Scene. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at Urban Sports Scene, and also like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. You can also join our Urban Sports Scene Facebook group. Just search Urban Sports Scene, sports bloggers, sports podcasters, and sports debates. All right, let's get into our tradition, the pregame. Here's what we have on tap. Tony McGee's Pro Football plus his Commanders reporter, Donna Hopkins, will join me to recap the Washington Commanders preseason loss against the Detroit Lions. Which was 17-13. That was the score. Let me not waste any time. Let me introduce, like I said, my favorite, Miss Donna Hopkins. Hey, Donna, how are you?
Hey, Wally, you make my heart smell.
It's the truth, Donna. Look, man, folks gonna probably pull up and say, "Whoa, what? Donna's your favorite?" I'm like, "Yeah, she is."
Hey, look, I appreciate that. Appreciate that love.
You know what I mean? Hey, Donna, what I do like about you is obviously one, your infectious personality, and also you just tell it straight. You're a straight shooter. You know what I mean? So you just make it easy to do this. So Donna, let's dive into it. Obviously let's talk about before the game. Dan Quinn had a presser. They had an impromptu practice. It seemed like it, right? Because it wasn't scheduled. So what did you pick up from what he had to say today? And because it seemed like he was very annoyed with Saturday's performance.
Oh, and rightfully so. You're talking about we're just one game from the regular season, and a whole bunch of things that he saw in that Detroit game. I mean, your offense comes in and they only play 3 plays because that offensive line center-wise just caved in, to start on the offensive side. And I'm starting on the offensive side because that is the greatest need right now as far as that O-line. I asked Coach even after the game, my question was, what did he see from the offensive line, from the guys who started the game and the guys throughout the game, and throughout his, talk about the offensive line where they have multiple people coming in and out. One thing that he stressed is they got to get that center position right. And in his presser today, when he talked about the offensive line a little bit more, he was talking about Nick being that, hopefully he'll be back to start the season, but he still has to get up to form being out, and a calf injury can linger on a little longer because he came back, it was sore again, he's gone again. And even going into the season, I had a big question mark pertaining to the center, being that the depth there, and it's showing itself right now, if he goes down, who's the next man out? And the way that Jaden was, they rushed the defensive lineman, and the way they got to Jaden in those 3 little plays, that's the reason why it was like Coach said he was going to be done anyway after that first series, but he didn't have time enough after those 3 because the center collapsed. Then you had missed blocks on the second series where he got sacked. He didn't even have time to get the ball out. And I told you in that first Miami scrimmage game, the Commanders' defensive front did the same thing to Miami's quarterback. Before he could come up for air, they were in his face. And that was the same thing with Jayden to start the game. So you have to solidify that center position beyond just the guys in there, because Nick is a question mark as far as that calf holding up and getting through that, because you push off. And then Matt Gobin is the guy, the rookie that they bought in here. Coach Quinn said today that he would, he had been playing guard, but they were going to move him back to center, that we're going to see a lot of him in that joint practice. And then probably the last preseason game. That's something coach said when I asked him the question after the game. We got to get that right. He stressed it today. The reason why coach was upset about a whole bunch of things, and there was some good things that did happen, is we're at the end of the line to start the season.
Yeah.
And you want to see things done right. And he was frustrated by a combination of things, not just the offensive line, but some other things that he saw team-wise across the board. So I guess he was thinking about, look, at this stage of training camp, today was the last day of training camp. Now we got that joint practice. I think that he expected to see, he talked about the energy in that game that he was disappointed in too. So that's some things that should not be cropping up. Energy, in even if it's preseason. I think like I said, he was frustrated about a lot of things at this stage of the game that you were hoping to have cleaned up. But like I said, it wasn't all bad, because it is some shining stars and some shining moments on this team that we saw in that game, because it's a chance, for these guys that's trying to make this team. And I thought some guys really stood up in that game, but glaring still heavily right now is the offensive line. That's got to be on everybody's mind. He was asked the question today, was he, the people that's in the house at center, was he pleased with that? Did he think he had the bodies in there? And he said, yes, but I think the telltale is this coming week against Baltimore, who has a huge, line across the board on both sides of the ball. They got receivers. They got all the pieces that you want to really test to see where you are going into the regular season. So I think the telltale, even though he said that, is let's see how this shapes up this week. But I still think that they definitely have to get somebody in, whether they got to look at the trade. But again, I want people to pump the brakes just a little bit, because cut down is coming soon. Yeah. And it's going to be, and I think that's the reason why they're not pushing the panic button, and they're saying, let us see who's going to be out there when the teams cut down, because it's going to be some good players out there, because the Commanders are going to cut some surprises too on their roster. So they're still building this roster. That's the thing that Adam Peters, coach, said, all of them said, they are building this roster still after cut down still.
No, I agree. I totally agree with you. Hey, Paul. Hey, Paul. What's going on, my guy? Says, hey, Don. Yeah, exactly. What else we have here? Thanks, Frank. Hey, what's going on, Frank? What's going on, Merle? Merle has something nice to say about you too, Don. I just want to make sure I pull this up, give you your flowers. He says, yeah, the first lady of Commanders Media, Mrs. Hopkins. There you go.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate you.
Awesome. But yeah, I'm with you, Donna. The center position has definitely been something I haven't been a fan of. Obviously, watching that game where they ran the stunt and they were there in like 3 seconds, it was kind of weird for like that to be your first play, and Jayden can get pressure that quickly. Then you have the play where Chig and Bates didn't block. Put it that way, didn't block. I want to use sugarcoat it. Didn't block. But the center part is glaring, because this has been an issue, right? With Nick, from day one, and it's a calf injury, and it's a calf injury, and Donna, you play basketball, like the trend has been with calf injuries nowadays, where like it's Achilles, like usually that's kind of correlates to the Achilles, so that's, you got to be very careful with it. And we've seen, I can say this in basketball, dudes miss like months with a calf injury just because the fear of tearing your Achilles. So we don't even know. I don't even know what Nick Allegretti's his situation is going to be when he's almost ready. You know what I mean? Like, because typically, like if you watch, like again, other sports, you saw, and I'm just using basketball as an example, Tyrese Halliburton, Kevin Durant, when they had a calf situation, once they went out on that basketball court, it was almost instant when they decided to go out there and test it, almost instantaneous, like they ruptured their Achilles or tore their Achilles.
You push off. You need your calf muscle for everything, even when mine's is sore. Let me tell you, at the beginning of a camp, because I was going up those hills all day long and whatever, I said, why is my calf so tight? I laid down late on that night and I curled up and it curled up. So I was like, I can imagine, and you're talking about a heavy lineman that really uses that angle and that leverage and everything. So again, when he came back after being gone for 2 weeks or so, he came back and he practiced for one day and he was gone again because it got sore. And that's the thing about calf injuries. They get sore and you got to be careful, like you said, Achilles situation. So that's the reason why I'm concerned is that who is the next people up? So they have these two other individuals in there. And again, you got an experienced guy and then you got a rookie. And with Matt has played, when I talked to Matt at the beginning of training camp, he's played this offense, this David Blau's offense, but it's college, but he's got to come up to speed there. So that's the reason why I know that coach, and I believe that he can play this position now. A rookie is going to make mistakes and whatever, but I think he can hold his own. But even beyond having him in there, and if he does end up being the guy in there, you still need another guy as your backup. So I think that is what they're looking at in that position, because this is a thing that offensive line too, because I asked Coach Quinn about the running game, which goes hand in hand with the offensive line. And I said, you think about the first preseason game against the Dolphins, Robert Henry and Katron Allen, they ran for 160 yards combined and the 2 touchdowns. And then this week against the Lions in that second preseason game, 35 yards, 17 attempts, and 27 yards on 14 carries combined with those two guys. And I asked Coach, you look at the first week where they were shining stars, the second week, not so much as far as being able to run the ball. And I asked Coach Quinn today as far as what do you contribute that to as far as the difference in the two. And even with that being said, it came down to blocking also in some of the situations. So as he told me, it wasn't just on the running backs, but it was blocking offensive line also. So again, that has to be right across the board, because you think about up the middle when they were trying to run, it wasn't there. But it's bright points on the offensive line too, because I think beyond the center position, and that just means just depth at that position is what I'm saying, is that across the offensive line, there are some good things. He talked about Sam when he was talking about the offensive line. He said, look, this is the best I've seen Sam, since I've been here, and he's having a tremendous camp. And he gave kudos to Josh Connolly also, and also on the other end with Brandon Coleman and Chris Paul. So the offensive line isn't a total shambles, and that's what people need to realize. It's just a piece of the offensive line has to get right, because they've got the other pieces there in there. And Wally, you always know I say,
you do.
Starts with the trenches.
You do. It's in the trenches.
Sides, whether it's the defensive line or the offensive line. But you're talking about an area on this team last year that was pretty solid. That was kind of like the shining part of this Commanders team last year was the offense. And even though, seeing Laramie Tunsil today, which was great and everything, you lose him, but you still have some depth there with Brandon Coleman. And you know how people said at one time about trading him and all of that? I said, are you crazy? It's hard to find good offensive linemen. And you got a diamond in the rough with Brandon Coleman, who can play multiple positions and everything. But again, you got to get that center position right for the running game, for Jayden, and for the whole thing, for this offense to go. He can't even get the ball to the receivers because he didn't have time.
Donna, he can't even turn around, Donna. That's how
Wally,
bad it was.
before he could take a breath, they was in his face.
Exactly. It's not even getting the ball to receiver. He couldn't even
and Baltimore is worse.
Yeah.
Baltimore's defense is way better than Detroit's.
Yeah. And that was against the twos, though. That's what made it even scarier. That's Detroit's twos. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Hey, but that just means that Detroit's got great depth, even in their.
I guess. Let's go that route. Let's go with that, Donna. Let's just hope Detroit was good. Was really good, and we weren't that bad, right? Paul says, Donna, should they bring in 2 additional guard centers?
Yeah, I think at this moment that's the area that you have to look at on this offensive side of the ball is that guard center position, because you got to add depth there. And think about it. Matt was playing guard. They had him playing guard, which is a beauty because he can play center and guard. So that's what the Commanders looked at when they started building this offensive line. They said we have to have multiple people to be able to shift across the offensive line, and you have that in Brandon Coleman, you've got that in Matt, you got that in some of the other guys and everything. You can't have a drop off from the starters and everything, and that's what the Commanders wanted to build with whoever comes in next. They're able to hit the ground, and you don't see a drop and everything. But the center position is the ones guard center, center. You can bring in 2 centers for all I care, is because I think at this point you almost need that.
And we was like, so I mean, just looking at the presser today, but I just want to go back on Saturday after the game. Like, what was the mood from like the players since you were there? Like, what was the mood? Were they feeling the same way, especially the starters on offense? Did they feel a certain way, or was it like, all right, it's preseason? Like, what was the mood?
No, it can't be it's just preseason. I mean, you can't go into it like that because there's so many lesser games now than you had before. So every preseason game is golden. The fact I think that it's some pieces of this team that did do well in that game against the Lions. I mean, you think about the defense starts off. Amik Robinson.
Oh my God!
The defensive line put up the pressure up front. Amik Robinson came and laid timber. I mean, the way he hit that guy, he's still getting up off the ground. And then they forced a fumble. The ball is kicked around for a minute, and it ends in the end zone where they get the touchdown. So the defense did their job, as I told me, one and done, because you got the job done. But it was some guys that stepped up on the defensive side. And I'm saying this when you said, asking me about how was the mood. The mood was, hey, you know what? I didn't go into the locker room but a little bit because Jayden was coming out. I wanted to hear what he had to say. I wanted to hear about Amik Robinson, what he had to say. And then, coach, and that locker room is so tiny that you were trying to move around and talk to players and you couldn't talk to a whole bunch. And there was some, like I said, I think you got to look at the fact that they understand that it's pieces. And I think that Coach Quinn, stressing his displeasure in a lot of the areas that he saw in that game, that's what they felt today. That's the reason why they had that practice today, that extra practice is to put in the extra work. People kept asking the players, hey, this practice came out of nowhere. The key thing about it is when they throw a practice in there, you should love that practice because it's allowing you to work on some things to get better. So I didn't understand the question sometimes about them asking about, how did they feel about having this practice come out of nowhere, when if you look at that game, it needed to come out of nowhere. Because the thing that I don't understand is time is running out for the regular season to start. So therefore, you need practice. I mean, I literally love having practice when I was playing ball and whatever. I wanted to have practice. So I think this was a good thing to kind of like reel the team back in to say, hey guys, we got to work on this and we got to get it right, because we, time is kind of like that clock is ticking and everything. So I think the mood was, I mean, I couldn't get a pulse on it because, you know, people came off. They're probably aware of, hey, it was some things that we didn't like. But again, like I want to point it out, it's not all bad things with this team. It's just some things, you know, a few things that needs to shape up because it's great competition at various areas. When we look at the wide receiver room, it is so loaded. We came in saying, oh man, I don't know about the wide receivers. You get Diggs and then the other guys step up to the next one. So, I mean, Jayden Bradley was a guy that from the beginning
who you spoke to and you have
I spoke to early on, and look at him at the way, and it's not just about that one-handed catch, but I must say it was spectacular. So it was something of beauty. But Wally, it was the reaction on the sideline that I enjoyed even more so with Jayden and the other, even defensive players and so forth, even the coaches. But he has been solid in training camp, all training camp long. He's been getting a lot of action in training camp. A big body, can catch the ball. I mean, he runs good routes. The other guy that Coach Quinn mentioned today was Jalen Lane, and nobody's really talking about him.
True.
I caught up with him today because every practice, training camp, every practice, he's there catching balls out of the machine. He's catching balls every practice. It's not one. He's putting in the work. And Coach Quinn talked about him today of guys that are standing out. He's one of them. Better route runner, playing both the return and the wide receiver position really well. And so, I mean, he's putting the work, and you're seeing the fruits of his labor also. So those are two guys on the wide receiver, and I could mention some other ones. Antonio Williams, which I told you. He's from you know, OTAs, and I told you he was going to be a good one. But again, a young guy that came in here, put in the work. So those are three guys that are jarring for positions that they're going to make. I see them making the team, no slam dunk and whatever. But it's so good to see a competition room like that. And then I asked Coach Quinn about the safety room.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you. You about to ask you. Go ahead.
Quan Martin has stepped up, 2 interceptions back to back. A guy that people have basically somewhat counted out. Yes. And now he's, you know, starting, as Coach Quinn said today, understanding the offense, you know, understanding the defense and really rolling with the defense. And you can see that in his play. You know, Tyler Owens, he you know, the way he took out that running back. I mean, and like Coach Quinn said, you saw flashes of Taylor Owens over the years, you know, last few years anyway. But, you know, he's getting the opportunity, you know, putting his name on coaches' minds, and the way he came around the edge. And you think about it, he's got speed. And when you look at him, you like, really, you know, nobody talks about him. But when you really look at him, and to make a play like that where he just bulldozed over the running back, and then he had balance enough to stay in control where he didn't get the penalty on the quarterback because he avoided the quarterback. But the way he would have sacked that quarterback if he had got that ball out of his hands. But that was just one play that you're starting to see people like some names like, okay, that safety room is loaded too. I mean, when you look at Cross, when you look at Quan Martin, Jeremy Reeves, we talked to him today, and I was like, hey, Jeremy, how you see that room? And he said, guys are starting to really get it in that room, but you can only be as good as that defensive front. And the defensive front, those starters, and they ain't even got all the starters back, Wally. Yeah, so again, I know that, you know, Coach Quinn was, and I was upset too. I was like, man, we getting down to the nitty gritty. So to have these little things crop up, and this is what you want. It's like you got to dial it in again because, you know, it's great things that's happening with this team where they do look good in some areas, but it's other areas that has to be cleaned up. And that's what the coach is always talking about, cleaning up areas. But I'm telling you, that joint practice is going to be lit because I'm looking forward to it because, again, that's a whole different monster as far as that. So, to be able to see Matt at that center position a little bit more than we did, because coach has to really see what he's got right there, because right now you got these three guys and one is limping.
Man, he's giving me Goldman. I'm good. I don't need to see the rest. I have a good idea. I feel like my assessment is right. I'm not gonna lie. I just personally feel like my assessment is right. I like this kid. Like when I saw his film out of the draft, and right now I know he's still green to the NFL game, but he still looks better than what I saw on Saturday. And I know that's a short sample size, so it's not fair to Good Jones too, to be honest with you. But to me, I'm cool. I've seen Gulbin. I said it's Gulbin or Gulbin. Gulbin. I won't mess his name up. It's Gulbin. I've seen Gulbin, like the big run from Henry. He made a big block on that one. So I've seen a lot. I've seen some good. I've seen a lot of good. So I'm cool with that.
And on the defensive side, can we mention Joshua Joseph?
Yeah.
I've been number 48.
That play, man.
Let me tell you, rookie. He has really been having a great camp. And every preseason game that you've seen him in, I mean, he's missed some things, but he's made a lot of things. And you could see the speed from him around the edge and everything. And you can tell he's just hungry for the ball and physical. So coach was talking about him. Didn't talk about the quarterback, the third quarterback, because that's going to be another heated up thing, because Athan has really came in and he looks so smooth and comfortable. The way he stepped up in the pocket a couple of times, the quick release. I mean, just having control of the offense and not looking like he's rattled. And he was the one who threw the ball, by the way, to Bradley. Yeah,
I know. We won't get to him. I
just wanted to throw that out.
No, I'm gonna get to him.
I'm also looking at that position. Also,
you should. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say this. The reaction from Sam Hartman on his last play is pretty much let you know what time it is. His reaction after the fourth down play, I was like, "Yeah, all right, I know. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay."
Aiken just came in and I mean, when you think about the system that he played in up Rutgers, it prepared him for this. He's not Jaden, he's not Marcus, but the way he came in the first week and that game against Detroit, he took control. And I saw him step up in the pocket. That's a veteran move of some of the things I saw from his game. But he just looks comfortable. I mean, he didn't look nervous. Yeah,
that's what stands out. He looks to piggyback on what you just said. He just looked comfortable. Like not like Hartman looks like skittish when he's out there. You know what I mean? Special K is what we call him. He just looks comfortable. Special K just looks comfortable. You know what I mean? Like regardless of my thought process on him before the draft. I mean, when we drafted him, I was like, he went to Rutgers. I mean, he wasn't that good in college to me. But like right now, like we're going with it's a new slate. He looks comfortable compared to Sam Hartman. Like and his arm strength is better. Like all that stuff all that stuff everybody knows about. But I think the most important thing, what you said, is right on target. He's just comfortable. There's no fear in the pocket. Like Sam Hartman, you could tell there's fear. Like you can see it. There's like he doesn't want to make a mistake. There isn't like this free flowing, like just playing football for like playing football with the joy
and not thinking.
You can tell he's thinking. Like, you can see it. Like you could see it on various different throws. You know what I mean? But when you get Special K out there, he's just letting that thing rip. He don't even care.
Special K
just let that thing rip. Paul got a question for you. He said, Donna, is DJ a blessing of some of the defensive players from last year who struggled?
Oh, slam dunk. Yeah.
Not a slam dunk.
Only because you think about it, the way he run. Look, I was up in the press box, and I'm always looking at the sidelines too. I'm looking at the whole games.
You had the binoculars. You had the binoculars too, right? You had the binoculars.
Yes,
too.
it
All
did.
right.
Somebody had the nerve to ask me, "You still use binoculars?" I said, "We was up there giving Jesus high fives. I needed those binoculars." So yeah, but not only that, you need binoculars anyway, because if you're trying to like cone in on certain things of the game or whatever, you need those, no matter if you down low, up high, or whatever. But I was giving Jesus high fives because we were up so high. But yeah, I was paying attention to the sideline when I think a couple of players had went down with injuries, and the Commanders' defense was on the field, and Jones pulled those guys over and was telling them different things. And I was like, yeah, he's in them, because when I watched him in practice, take players aside one-on-one and going through, feet work, hand work, movements and all that. And players constantly tell me over and over, he is a teacher, and you can tell that. Yeah. And his defense is complicated. So therefore, it's going to take some time for everybody to catch on. But now once they catch on, you can start seeing that, because last year they couldn't force turnovers. This year during preseason, they already got more almost than last year. I mean, and it comes from the pressure up front. I still on defense, the line. I want to see that run defense, them be able to stop that a little bit more. That's what I'm going to be paying attention to, because last year the run defense was something that they were not really good at through the gaps and all that. But I want to see with these new guys in there, what it's going to look like. But he has brought, to a life. Well, this is the best way I can explain this. He has brought rejuvenation and life to some players that people had counted out. And I'm going to use this. And not that they had counted out this particular player. Jeremy Reeves was best known for special teams until last year when he played defense some. This year, Jeremy Reeves is starting over people who started over him last year. So that tells you something about Jones's defense that has, pushed some players from the back end to the front end.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I've always talked highly of Jeremy Reeves playing defense and not just special. I've always felt, even when under the Rivera regime, I thought anytime you gave him an opportunity to, play on defense, he did something for you. And it's just like, but it wasn't like, no one was married to the idea. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wanted to be married to the idea of him being a starting safety.
But some defenses, Wally, fits other people better than some, because when you talk about Kane Madrano, let's talk about the linebacker room, Kane Madrano, this fits him well. If you have speed in your game, this defense is going to fit you really well, because everything moves fast. You got to get to the ball fast. You got to get out your breaks fast. You got to, everything is predicated on you getting to that person, and speed is the key thing, because the defense, people kept asking about, what does Jones's defense look like? Well, now we couldn't tell you that when, doing training camp, but you're able to see it now. It's interchangeable parts at all times. The cornerbacks may come up, then they drop back, whole 9 yards.
Love it. I love it. All right, I want to know about this player. He had 2 sacks. And I want to talk about Quan too. I am going to talk about Quan, because I did like your question, and Quan is, I'm happy for Quan. But I want to ask about this player, Maurice Hurst. He had like 2 sacks. They just got him. He had like 2 sacks on Saturday. Like, so what was the vibe with him? Because he came in, they just signed him. He tried out, signed him, and he gets 2 sacks. And created habit.
Well, I think that they're still looking at, because they were asked about Dedrick Wise today when they see him, and coach that he is coming along. So when you're looking again in building your team, you're never satisfied totally. You're always saying, can we be better? And I think it comes down to the depth situation, where this is a player that just came in and took advantage of his opportunity. I was watching him before the game started, and the D line in general, of them warming up, him going through the warm-ups and all of that, because we was like, who was that? And, you don't know who or what they could do until they get out there. So for him to step up, that tells the Commanders about, hey, look at this player over here, and it's a depth thing, Wally. It comes down to when Sunday cuts come is how many defensive guys do we need? And, the backups and all that, how many of this position? So it's a numbers game right now as far as, and you can never have enough defensive and offensive line.
Especially a guy who had like 2 sacks off the rip. You know what I mean?
Off the rip and could get to the ball. But again, those not starters, but still, whether they starters or not, you made impactful plays. Yeah. So again, this Commanders coaches and staff is constantly building this team still. Nothing is signed, sealed, and delivered at some of the positions. They're still saying we can be better. Looking at the tape, you think about it. We haven't broke down the tape or anything like the coaches have. So breaking down the tape and looking at where people were supposed to be versus where they were not, that's what they're looking at when they bring in all these different players and everything. But again, the roster is not set. Even when the cut downs come on Sunday, it's not set totally.
Agreed. It's not even set. So Timothy has questions down. How do you think Styles looks so far?
Struggle, I think, and only because people expect him to come in, and just because he was the number 1 draft pick, they thought that he's just going to come in and he's going to be Bobby Wagner, or he's going to be Frankie Louvu, or he's going to be at that caliber of their game. He's a rookie. He played this is the thing people don't realize, 2 years he played linebacker. So again, and I go back to what Coach told me, that he's got the skill sets. He's good, hands down. But that doesn't mean it's going to show itself right quickly, like everybody wants it to see. It's a process. Let me just say this. Anybody that started this game that were great linebackers down through the years, like Coach Norton told me, he's going to be all of that. He believes he got the talent, but everybody that started, they didn't start as the superstar that Michael Parsons. But again, you don't have people that just start out the gates fast. But I think that Sonny is still learning this, because 2 years in, he's still learning. Now he's in the pros. That was college 2 years. Now he's in the pros. It's a whole different ball game in the pros as far as the defenses you're throwing at. So I just think that he's still grasping this defense and learning this. They were talking about the green dot. Who's going to be the green dot?
Yes, all that between him and Frankie.
I just wanted to be the right dot. So again, so again, whoever that's going to be. But I think that all of them are still gelling as far as that linebacker crew, because when you lose the knowledge of a Bobby Wagner, that he could look at a defense in his sleep and know what's going to happen and be able to change it and tell people what's going on. That's not going to be Sonny right now. So I think people are expecting too much too soon as far as what he can do. But I think he'll get there, but it may take a little more time and whatever. And then coaches them are going to see him because he's got speed and all of that kind of things that is going to make it. But you still have to be in the right position. You still have to make the key calls and everything. And he's still learning that. So I think it's been some growing pains for him at that position, but it doesn't surprise me. I didn't expect him to come in and be all pro linebacker. I think he'll get there.
Yeah, I didn't either. I mean, and I'm a Michigan fan, so I've seen Sonny Styles. I didn't expect him to be. There are certain rookie linebackers, middle linebackers that my expectations are a little different because they played that position for a long time. They kind of always
for a long time. Could you say that again?
For a long time. And they've always kind of been that person, though, right? It wasn't, and this is no shade on Sonny Styles, but it wasn't like the combine helped elevate them to a certain status, right? They were already first, like that said player didn't need the combine to kind of jump them up. Like Sonny was going to be a first round pick regardless. So I'm going to put that out there. He's going to be a first round pick regardless. Yeah. But like the combine helped jump him into, for a lot of people, jump him in the top 10. And the middle linebackers that I've watched, like, I'll get an example. This the kid, he's in Baltimore now, but he was a Chicago Bear. And Roquan Smith. Like Roquan Smith in Georgia, you just knew he was a top 5 pick. Like it didn't even matter. Like you didn't have to see the combine. Like you just knew. Like he's a top 5 pick. Like because he was a middle linebacker. Like he is right in college football, he was probably he was the best middle linebacker in college football. So you just knew it. And he played in the SEC, so you already had a good idea of what he can do. So to your point, but he was, Sonny was playing safety. They changed his position to linebacker, and he's an athlete. You know what I mean? The blessing is that he is with a Durante Jones who can utilize his skill set so he can be an effective football player. I think to your point, the people who want him to be the green dot, the Mike, like then he can slow down. They can ease him into that. Like exactly. let him be a playmaker first, and so he has confidence, and then the other part will come. Like that will come. Because
being the green dot it's not easy.
It's
and
not.
And being the green dot, you have to have played in this system for a while as far as what the offensive quarterbacks and that offensive coordinator is going to be thrown at you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they can trick even a veteran player. So what are they going to do with a rookie? So again, he's learning the position still. 2 years in, he's not going to be an expert there, but he's going to learn that. So just give him some time and don't put the pressure on him to be the green dot. Because you want him to succeed in this. And I'm agreeing 100% with you, Wally, is that Jones will utilize him in the best way possible to get out his skill sets to be able to help this team, whatever that might be.
And you use Micah Parsons. That's a good example because the reason why people forget, like Micah Parsons came into, like he was a linebacker. That's what his position really is. He would, truth be told, a lot of people thought he'd be like a Micah linebacker. That's how thorough Michael Parsons was in college. He was like he was probably the best linebacker in college. He got to Dallas, and Dallas was like, "Nah, we're gonna put you everywhere." They put him linebacker, and then he was playing
pass rusher,
defense end. It got to when he was so good at defensive end, they were like, "We're gonna keep you there." You know what I mean?
Because the thing about it is he has the speed, and quickness
and strength
to get to the quarterback, and bull over people that on the other side as far as linemen.
Yeah, and I think that Sonny Sonny he's not. I'm not gonna say he's like because Mike is a freak, but he is freakish though. Sonny is freakish. Like if it wouldn't surprise me. Durante says we're gonna move you around like a poor man's Micah Parsons. Like I wouldn't, because I think that alone, honestly, you can utilize most of his skill set and athletic ability, utilizing him that way. But I don't, like to your point, I wouldn't have any pressure with him having to play the Mike. I feel like from what Dan, Coach Quinn said, he said him and Louvu right now are the two top dudes with the green dot, and then he said you can always filter in Leo and whatnot. So.
And what did he say about Frankie? He was one of those guys that he called out that say,
he called out Frankie.
When I talk about fitting into the defense or new defenses and whatever, this fits Frankie quite well. And Coach was talking about, what he's seen in Frankie's game in this particular defense under Jones. He has excelled in this. So, again, I'm looking forward to seeing Frankie, in this defense and being really utilizing his skill sets again. You could tell that he's been reborn in this defense also. So I think people just have to wait and see how that green dot, because everybody is pressured about who's going to be the green dot. Who's going to be? I just want to know who's going to be the purple one, the red one, the white one, and all that kind of stuff.
I'm like you. I want the best dot. That's all I care.
Yeah, exactly.
I think people keep worried about fixated. Is he going to play it? Like I just want the best dot. So I do want you. So you mentioned Quan in the presser today, but I do want to double down on that. Like, and because you're right, a lot of folks they forgot about Quan. It was like, oh, he ain't gonna be here on this team. Like he can get cut. I would say all types of things. He's gonna get traded. Like even Paul said, facts. I thought Quan was done. You know what I mean? Tyler Owens found the right DC and Durante, but Quan has 2 interceptions, like first and
back to back.
Quan has. I remember looking at shout out to Candy Waller for Bowie TV. I remember during locker cleanup, and I remember her speaking to Quan and watching him in that interview. I was like, dang, he looks so dejected. He looks like a guy that lost his confidence. You know what I mean? And then now, fast forward. Look at him now. He seems like he has it back. You've been around him. You've been with the team. Like, has he gotten his confidence back? Am I right for feeling that way?
Yeah, I mean, when I talked to Quan earlier during training camp about just how he saw himself in this new defense, and like he said, he was working through some things injury-wise last year, and I don't think he ever lost himself, but he said that he came back refreshed and worked on his body, getting his body right, because those little nicks catch up with you sooner or later. So he said he started doing yoga, Pilates, and those things, the stretching things that people don't realize are important, which I'm one of those things because I hate to stretch, but I know I need to, but I don't. But he incorporated that into his, fitness. And he said it's just fitness part of taking care of his body. So I think he really went back and assessed how can I be better as a football player. And that was one area that he did. And then just trusting the process of his game and what he does know. But again, I think it comes down to Jones's defense that fits Quan quite well, and him just, those little things that because he did admit, he's like, hey, I gotta, the tackling was an area that I knew I had to improve on. Yeah. So all of those things, and not only that, he had interceptions in his hand last year and just didn't come through with it, or somebody knocked it, out of his hand and whatever, but he's holding on to the ball more. And this comes down to the coaches and the drills, all of those things that they're doing in practice. So again, Jones, I told you, Jones is a guy that takes each individual. He said that coming in, he was going to have a development plan for each player. That is Jones. And having that plan and looking at the strengths of each player and understanding that in each player, that's what Jones is pulling out of these players is their development throughout this course of when he got here until now, about what. And then Jones really thoroughly looked at the tape and looked at these players and said, this is where this guy we need to work at. So I think that's what you're starting to see with a Quan Martin, which, like I said, some people counted him out. I was not one of them. I just kind of thought that a fresh start with a new defensive coordinator, you never know because you fit in one system better than the other one. And so, again, this defense is set where players say it allows everybody to eat. So that's what Jones basically said. Learn the defense as a whole, not just your position. Because if you got to know this defense overall for your position to really work also.
What about the over? And you also asked, Coach, about the overall safety room. You mentioned Tyler Owens, just the competition in that room from what you've seen, and obviously what we saw on Saturday, last Saturday, to what you've seen during training camp. What has been this competition been in that safety room?
Look, you better learn how to play special teams because that might help you to be on this team at safety position because I've seen everybody on special teams that play in the safety room. Quan is there. I think he was there last year. Will Harris is there. But you think about Nick Cross, they brought him in. You think about Jeremy Reeves. I didn't even mention Percy Butler.
Yeah, Percy,
who basically is an all-pro on the special teams. But Percy has talent also in that safety room as far as playing on that side of the ball too. So, and then I said Will and Tyler. I mean, when you look across the board, you're like, man, this is a good problem to have. So people say, well, how many are they going to keep? If you keep 6, because I told somebody I was trying to figure it out because I'm trying to put my little list together, marking mine off too. And I said the way Jones's defense runs is sometimes he has 3 safeties in there. So when you look at the interchanging parts and everything, safety wise, you're like, well, maybe they'll carry 6. But even if they carry 6, somebody in that list that I called out may not be here. So again, it's a numbers game, and it's coming down to what is needed most in each position. So the safety room, just like the wide receiver room, very competitive. That it's backwards and forward with talents there. That's reason why you see that Tyler Owens coming up making smoking plays like he did. As far as to make sure, because this is the thing that you want as you get down to the cut down days. You gotta be on the coach's in their radar.
Yes.
Tyler Owens made his name known in that room by that play he made, and Quan Martin, them 2 back-to-back interceptions. Facts. Hey, they look at it's like, hey, I know your name because look, you made 2 So again, when he talked about that room, I mean, they got talent there. He likes that room. It's going to be tough, when it comes down to Sunday when you have to make a decision of who to keep and everything, because the way Jones's defense is, they could carry 6 safeties and everything. So I like that room. I think it's just like the wide receiver room. That's one that you have a scoodle of talent either way.
And they got I think the writing's on the wall for one safety. I'll say that much. For one,
I'm not going to say that because as soon as I think it goes that way, it switches up. I'm not going to say no names.
I wouldn't say names. I'm just saying me.
I'm not going to say names.
I want you to say names.
But again, you think about it. Tyler Owens, when you talk to the special teams coach, he praises Percy and Tyler Owens.
Oh yeah, they should.
As far as they're
elite though. They're elite at specials. They're elite on specials.
Yeah, and then Jeremy Reed's too.
So will he still play specials though? Will he still play specials?
I still think he plays special teams because again, the running back, the safeties, corners, all of those guys play multiple positions. Hey, you think about when you came up through high school and college, you played everything.
That's true.
Because but I always say, for you to be valuable, you got to be knowing how to do more than one thing. You got to have to be good at multiple things. I always told people, I said, I know how to do a whole bunch, but not the great at anything. So I just know how to do a whole bunch of things.
Donna great in a lot of stuff. Don't let her fool y'all, man. Donna great. Come on, Donna's a great reporter. What we doing here? Like, what we doing here? What we doing here? What we doing here? Yeah, Stephon Stephon Diggs gonna get that number 3 permanently.
Look, this is the thing I didn't understand. That is that we're in preseason, so why are we even going through number situations right now?
I know.
I mean, really, when I was at the game on Saturday, when they said about the numbers, he's gonna be wearing 3, but it didn't make no sense because right now, it's a lot of people's numbers that could change and everything. Exactly. So why change it now?
Exactly.
Let's let them keep number 18 until we figure out what numbers are going to be available. So I just didn't think that was a move that needed to happen. I don't know why they did it, but
I just feel like
stop laughing, Wally. But again, I just still didn't think it was.
I just thought it was funny when I saw it. I was like, that creates.
Really?
Oh, that creates tension. I ain't gonna lie to you.
That's what I'm saying. You don't need that.
Yeah, it creates tension. It's like, you telling me something without telling me something. To your point, though, I'm like, come on. You could have waited this, regardless of whatever. If you have a decision you're gonna make, or whatever, like you said, just do it after, or whatever. Just do it after, in the season. Let that number of situations figure it out during, in the end of preseason, the end of camp.
Look, you got enough on your mind than to worry about
the
numbers.
I agree. Were you how upset because I was upset. How upset were you that we couldn't really get to see Terry, Diggs, and Jayton get plays because of how bad the offensive line was, period. How upset were you?
Going in, I thought it would just be a series, which that's what coach said that it was going to be. That intent was it wasn't going to be a quarter, it was going to be a series. So I was, y'all didn't get to see it, but I got to see them warming up at least.
Yeah, exactly.
So going through the motion. I got at least to see that part and everything. See them bust a sweat that way.
Oh my God!
But I really wanted to see how because even though we've seen them in practice go against the Commanders defensive guys, which that's good competition there because they're pretty solid up front because they were coming at you just like we saw against the Lions.
Yeah.
But I wanted to really see a series of something of just him being in the pocket against another opponent and where you don't know what they're going to throw. I mean, you don't know what Jones is going to throw at you either. But in real action is what I wanted to see.
Real time. Yeah, I got
as far as under the clock. So I was disappointed because I wanted to see more. I mean, in actuality, I wanted to see more than a series. I wanted to see a half where you could really see the starters in there. So because this is the thing that even though you had all the practices and all that, game situations is a total different thing when you get into the game. And so you're talking about last preseason games where you don't really have the pads on every practice. And when you get into the first part of the season, it's sloppy ball because you haven't been in real live situation. And some coaches, they don't have their starters then ever during preseason. But I don't even know how you don't have them in some, because I believe in order to get out of the blocks quickly and be more seasoned to start the season is that you got to have the ball in the starters' hands more than what we've seen this season. That's just my take and whatever. But after that series of those 3 plays, I can understand why coach said, you won't be seeing them anymore.
I know.
So again, this week's practice is supposed to be physical, because against the Dolphins in that joint practice, it was pretty telling as far as their offense go up against your number 1 defense, vice versa. And you did get to see some things because the pressure was coming. You get to see the running game as far as can they open up the holes on the offensive line. So it is some value in the joint practice. It's just not, under the clock where it really counts. But this counts in another sense that you are able to gauge some things of this is what we really need to work on. And as I say, final preseason game is all about those guys that's still on the bubble of them seeing them a little bit more. So I was disappointed, but I'm greedy. I'm just greedy. I want to see at least. I really wanted to see more than a quarter. I want to see a half.
No, I know.
But everybody has, they don't want to get anybody hurt, and I can understand with the Commanders what they faced last year. You surely don't want to start that this year, and they already have, some heavy duty injuries right now that's glaring at them in the face. So I can understand that being the way it was. But yeah, at least they got out there. At least, you know what? But really, Wally, even those 3 plays, it told Coach Blau a lot about maybe he has to adjust some things of the way he might gone. Being that if the offensive line, the center position doesn't hold up, how do I pivot to change up some things for Jayden? So I think that it was good in a sense that it's, he goes back to the drawing board of maybe some things that he has to put in case this is the case in another thing. So it was some value in even, those 3 plays.
Yeah, learning from failure. That's a good point. Yeah, I like that. Because this play your O-line may not be able to block this play, so let me pivot and do it this way. No, that's a very good point. In terms of some of the updates that Coach put out there today. So Tim Settle was back. Did you get to see him a little bit in practice? Did he look okay? Because I'm high on Tim Settle.
Yeah, me too. Tim was here before. So I told Tim, I got to catch up with you because I haven't been able to catch up with you yet. So I think Tim adds another part to that defensive line of the depth and everything. When you look at Tim, it's going to take a lot to move him. Facts. So that's that anchor, kind of guy that you need in there as far as that leverage, as far as smashing, pushing them back. So I'm glad to see him come back because you have to have all these pieces in place. So I didn't get to see him much because, first of all, I was too lazy to walk over to the far field where they were. I was in my chair because it was hot. And Wally, it was only going to be for an hour short practice. I'm going to look at it tomorrow where it's going to be a little longer. So don't laugh, Wally. Look, Lake was trying to get me to walk around the hillside. I was like, I'm not moving out of this little chair. I said, I'm going to sit right here on this side and watch from afar. So I wasn't able to really, zoom in where I could really see him. But I'll be able on Tuesday's practice to kind of look at that because hopefully they won't be, even if they're over on that side, I'll walk. But by the time I got over there, Wally, they would have been coming back.
I know it was quick. I know it was last minute. No, I just think that from what you were talking about earlier about you weren't happy with them the way their run defense has been. It's letting me know now that I'm glad, because Tim Settle, from when he was here prior, like he was always good at help stopping the run when he was here initially, and even his time with other teams like Buffalo, and I want to say with the Texans, he's still good at that.
And when Dedrick Wise was healthy before he got hurt, they didn't run. The run defense, between him and Kinlaw, you weren't getting past them. So they complemented each other. So I think that they are better at that, than they were last year, but I haven't seen enough to really assess it. So I can't really say, that is way, way better. But definitely, I think it's better than last year because of the people they got up front. And like I said, you think about the people that haven't been there as far as Oweh and Chasen, they're not even there yet. Yeah. So when they were there, let me tell you, when they were there in that
I keep hearing that they were like lights out,
smoking, and especially Oweh. It was like, man,
I'm here. Oweh,
just call your mom and say, I got her. I'm sorry, mom, but you got
I heard Oweh was creating much havoc.
It was like something beautiful to watch.
I heard he was creating stuff. But yeah, I just feel like this team, because of the other D tackles, I just feel like they need to have 3 of the 2. Like they all got to be healthy. Like 3 of the 2 have to be healthy throughout this season. And that's Settle, Payne, and Kinlaw. They can't miss 2. 3 of the 2 have to 2 of the 3, have to always be out there, in my opinion. For this, I've seen enough to know that in terms of depth, and they're gonna need those. They're gonna need 2 of the 3 individuals on the field at all times, especially when we're talking about stopping the run. We're talking about stopping the run. They need to have 2 of the 3 of those individuals have to be on the football field.
Definitely. And then if I turn the page back to the offensive side of the ball, the running game is that build-in trouble with the team.
What's up with him?
I think it's a hamstring, a little tweak hamstring. I'm not for sure 100%, but I think it is his hamstring, and he didn't practice today, but coach was saying that those guys are coming on. It's important for Bill to be ready to start the season because he's had a fantastic training camp. Rashad White was back in practice today. He is key also. Those 2 guys is your 1-2 punch. They add so much. But I like the running back room still overall. Ford got let go, but they didn't expect. Most people didn't expect him to be on the roster. Matter of fact, the fan told me when I interviewed him when he got here. He didn't even give him a chance because
I didn't either, though, Donna. I didn't either. Though.
But look, when I interviewed him at the beginning, they said, "Why this one fan? Why you interviewing him? He's not even gonna be here." He had just got here. It was like the OTAs. And I was like, oh, man. Because I said, he's a veteran. So, he has skill set. But some of the other guys that just outperformed him, it just comes down to that. It's not to say that he can help another team. But this team was already set when they brought in Rashad White. That set the tone. And Jeremy McNichols, he's not out there because he's nicked up. So, of course, they got to get him back also in that running back room. So, again, I was just looking at the people that are still nicked. I didn't even mention Trey Amos yet because they got to get him back. Definitely back because he's going to – I like the cornerback room. I'd say this. How goes that defensive line putting the pressure up front? How goes that back end of that? Because you got to give them time. So, but Trey Amos being the depth that he adds at that position also, and just the way he played that position last year, it's so important to get him back out there also. So these the wounds that they have right now, the walking wounded, hopefully they will nurse them back to help to start this season out because we don't even have to talk about how brutal the start of the season is.
Yeah, all hands on deck. That's how I look at it. Like everybody, if you're a quality cornerback, you should be out there. I do have a question for you because I don't think my eyes deceived me. I'm sure I was right, but I could be wrong. Like in the beginning, like when the first team defense, the cornerbacks were Mikey and Amik, and was Monroe out there before Rasul?
See, I'm not for sure because I was just looking at Meek make that play.
Okay.
But I know that Mikey was out there.
I know Mikey was out there. Meek was out there.
I'm not for sure because what I try to do is whoever comes out first, I try to write him down.
No,
I
I
say,
got
okay,
you.
who's out here?
Yeah.
You know, defense and whatever. So I got, before I could get the back end of it, well, I knew I saw Mikey and Amik.
Oh, I saw Mikey.
But I was trying to see who was out there safety wise too. Of course, Jeremy. Jeremy, and I think Quan was out there. Linebacker wise,
it was Nick. Nick wasn't out there. I didn't pay attention. Was Nick close?
Yeah, I'm not for sure because Nick could have been out there, but again, I was trying to focus in on the front end first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not for sure if he was in there, but he could have been in there because they changed those in and out and whatever. Like I said, with the safeties and all that, because Quan was in at one point, but to start the game, not for sure if Nick was in. Probably. But I just know that Mikey and Amik was there at corner wise.
I'm gonna go rewatch the game, Paul. I'm not sure.
Douglas?
He says Douglas was. I don't think it was Douglas, but I'm gonna go back and rewatch it. I think the first play. I want to say I feel like the first play was before the second. I felt like Fabian got a tackle on the first play.
You're right.
I'm right. It was Fabian, right? I'm right. Fabian had the first.
Right.
I am right.
I think
it was Fabian.
Was out there because I forgot about Fabian because we actually was talking about
I'm right.
Up in the press box. So I think it was Fabian was out there.
Fabian, I think the first play Fabian had a tackle. The first play. He had a tackle. So Fabian was out there before.
For sure, because we had talked. We were talking about him being out there.
Yeah, it's Fabian.
And remember, he's comfortable in Jones's defense.
Yeah, I know.
Because he was with Jones.
Because I know the first play, I was like, oh, Fabian. Like, I remember the first, I was like, why is Fabian out there that early? And I was like, oh, shoot. Okay, then he must be comfortable. And then because I didn't see Rasul. Like I didn't see Rasul till the starters went out. Yeah.
Right.
That's when I saw Rasul. Yeah. So I knew I was right. Paul, don't be trying to do that, Paul. Don't be just saying stuff, Paul. I see what you was trying to do. Don't do that.
Paul, you gotta go back and look at the film.
I'm telling you, bro. Yeah. Because I knew like the first play, I think, because I was like, why is 30? I was like, who is 30? I said, oh, that's Fabian.
Yeah.
So
now that you mention it, I do recall him be out there. Now, like I said, I think it was the beginning of the game, but I do recall him being out there, and us talking about it.
Yeah. So I do want to. So you talked about Special K, and what he's doing out there. So do you feel like if you had to look at the situation for what it is from what you saw? I want to ask you from his body of work in training camp. Combined, I mean, not just the game, because the game is different. Like I know I get to see the game, and so obviously during like watching the game, he looks like the better quarterback. But from training camp, did he look like the better quarterback in training camp than Hartman? Did he look better than Hartman, or the game is just taking over to a point where we just going to ignore like what we saw in camp?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they both had some bright points, but I gauge on the game situation. When the real bullets are flying.
I agree.
Because I think that looking at him these first two preseason games against opposing teams, you really can assess him right there. And I mean, he's done some great things in camp too. I mean, Sam being in there too. But again, I mean, it's been some hits and mitts too. But when you really assess these last two preseason games, that's what I go by, how comfortable you are. How, I watched him back-to-back plays, throw the ball out to the slant. And it was like he had zip on it, accuracy, and he put it right where it was supposed to be. But I think what I was more impressed with is when they were coming at him, and if he hadn't stepped up in the pocket, he would have been sacked. So he instantly, without even thinking about it, stepped up in the pocket. And I was like, oh, that's pretty impressive. And just the way that he was comfortable in throwing the ball to the different areas on the field and picking his spots, that was point on to me. So I think he was just smoother and more comfortable as what I saw in real live games. And that's what I base mine on, is when that situation. I mean, like I look at training camp and look who's having good games, but some people can have good training camps, good practices and whatever. And then you come to real games and situations. You say, where did that player go? So again, he stepped up when it counted most when the clock is ticking, and he was pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, he was good. He was really, really good. I was highly impressed with what I've been seeing with him. He's surprising me. I didn't think he gonna be. I didn't think he would be. I didn't think he would be a blimp on this squad. To be honest with you, when they drafted him, and even from the stuff I was hearing about in camp, I was like, oh, okay, he's what kind of what I thought he was. But then when he comes into the game, there is a difference, right? There is a pure difference between him and Sam Hartman. I will say that there is a pure difference. And
yeah, I asked Jaden after the game about both quarterbacks
mm-hmm.
and everything. So I mean, the competition is going to come down to the end, you know,
Mm-hmm.
as far as who that third quarterback is, because this is the key thing is with Marcus being hurt right now with that MCL, he's supposed to be ready to come back at the start of the season and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say that if he's not, who are you most comfortable with? If that either one of these guys have to step up and make, God, hopefully we don't have to see a Jaden Daniels go down being hurt this season.
No,
so we don't even have that to even worry about. But you always have to say, who is that next guy up and can they get the job done? And they're looking at these two guys to see it's going to come down to the end of training camp to decide who that is. But if I was looking at it right now, I would say that Ethan has stepped up in the 2 games through the preseason. Yeah. And to me, he showed to be the most comfortable in this offense.
I agree. Do you think that because I feel like he's up 2-0. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like he's up 2-0. Does a third preseason game even matter? To be honest with you, if somebody's up 2-0, does it even matter? If we're talking about a competition for the third spot, is there anything in your opinion? This is Donna's opinion that Sam Hartman can even do to be a guy
who probably have to do what Ethan did in that Detroit game to change my view as far as that. But right now, I think that when I look at the two. Yeah. This is a guy that you could say, hey, he going into the situation with these guys and he didn't miss a beat. Yeah, he wasn't rocked by being in there. And I want to see them because Coach was talking about the way they had them in. One came in one quarter, one came in the other quarter. So I think that I want to see if Ethan can come in the Baltimore game, which is
first though,
if he has this same type of game that he had in the Lions game, then I can be convinced more. But I think that right now, he has been the better in the 2 preseason games of them. Being that Sam is learning. Look, the thing about it is Sam is learning a new offense too. He was under an old offense last year, so he's learning this new system too. But that I think it's I'm saying what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing, but coaches and everything, and they may hire one of these guys on the practice squad.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. Injuries come out of nowhere. Ouch.
No. No, I totally agree. Well, Donna, I appreciate you. This was great insight for my.
Hey, Wally, I told you for you. I said when I was out at camp today, I was like, oh man, I gotta go home and edit tape. I said, I gotta do the show with Wally. Only for Wally.
I appreciate you. I do appreciate you, Donna. You're the best. Like I mean that thoroughly. That's the truthful statement. I mean that you are the best.
It's always good, and I get you one-on-one again.
Yes, hey Donna. Donna, we're a vibe. We're a vibe, Donna. So it is what it is. We're just a vibe.
Hey, Wally said he ain't letting other people come in.
Not at all. It's me and Donna. That's it. Like nobody. I'm selfish. I'm very selfish. Yeah. He does the good, Mike. Yeah, Ruckus, Mike. He does the good. Also, Donna, how can folks catch your content on social media, YouTube, all platforms? Because you have great content for Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. And that's, I think it's Tony McGee Pro Football Plus TV YouTube channel, and also In the Minute, right?
In the Minute, and then Tony McGee's Unmassing Mid-Atlantic. But you got to thank Wally, because on X you can find Donna J Hopkins _.
No, X. No, don't mess it up. At Donna Hopkins _.
At Donna Hopkins. They already know at Donna Hopkins.
All right,
I ain't gotta add that
on X. At Donna Hopkins on X. Underscore.
Yeah, on X at Donna Hopkins. I mean, thanks to Wally, he told me I better get on my game and post more. Yeah. So I'm trying to do my best to, update you on all the things that's happening, interviews, what people are telling me and so forth. So you can catch me there on Instagram, Donna, DJ Hop 32, Magic 32.
Like Magic, like our favorite player. Our favorite. Gotta be like Showtime.
Yeah, and then Facebook and whatever is Donna Hopkins. So again, Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus on Mid-Atlantic Sportsnet, and our podcast In the Minute. You can catch that on our YouTube channel. And if you can't get Mid-Atlantic Sportsnet, we post that every Wednesday after the show airs, for the other areas. So you can catch us no matter what.
And you post that on your YouTube channel, on the Tony McGee Pro.
Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus is where Mid-Atlantic Sportsnet the show comes on there. It's posted on Wednesday after the show runs. So for people who can't catch it on Masson, they can catch it on our YouTube channel. So you can never miss us.
Look at Mike. Mike said, I love Pro Football Plus. He loves it.
Oh, appreciate you, Mike. Look, man. We're going into our 43rd season. God, I love Not my show. 43rd, but the shows.
I love that show. I could tell you all the story, the story when I was I saw Donna somewhere. I was like, do you have? Aren't you on the show? At the time, it was a Redskin show. I said, it is you.
Appreciate you, Paul.
Yeah, because I've watched that show. I've watched that show since forever. I grew up a diehard Redskin fan. So I got any Redskin content that was on TV, I was watching.
Hey, it used to be Redskins magazine.
Before magazine.
The previous owner, you could use the Redskins. So now it's Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus, just short Pro Football Plus.
Oh my God, I just love it because you had all of my favorite players on the show. At this time,
we still do.
You still do. No, you still do. But I was back then it was oh, then Gary Clark's finished playing back football. I was okay, he's on the show now. Then it was Charles Mann. Oh, he's on the show now. You know what I mean? Dexter Manley. Yeah. I used to watch it before Gary retired or something.
Hey, and look, we even have some of your other favorites outside of the Washington market. Howie Long.
I know. Let them know.
As far as Mean Joe Green and all of those guys that
James Brown
Hall of Fames, James Brown. The list goes on and on. So if you stay tuned into us because you never know who may be up there next.
Definitely. We can't wait. Look. Mike, yes, I'm telling you. Look, that's why I tell her to post all the time. Folks need to know. Shoot.
Y'all thank Wally.
Y'all be telling her. I'll be like, this Donna Hopkins. Y'all got the game twisted. This Donna Hopkins. Y'all gotta know. You know what I mean? No knock on any other reporter. But I'm just saying, this is Donna Hopkins. Y'all gotta know. And if you listen to In the Minute, if you watching it, you see her rapport with these players is amazing. So you just come on. It is what it is.
Hey, Wally, just doing what I love.
Yeah, exactly. And you're doing a great job, Don. Doing a great job.
Appreciate you all. Appreciate all of you all that follow me and make your comments and follow Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus, the podcast and all that. We appreciate all of that. Appreciate you all following Wally.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate them. I appreciate you for always jumping on, making time for me when you did. I know your schedule. I know it's tough, it's rough, and to a point, I gotta make sure I get you out of here now because you got this meditate. All right, folks, I appreciate y'all for pulling up. Appreciate Donna as always. I always say this before any show. This show would be nothing without the folks in the chat. You guys make the show. If it wasn't for y'all, this show would be meh. I'd be like, why am I even doing this for an hour plus? But you guys make it lit, so I appreciate y'all. Appreciate Donna again. Anyway, you've been listening to the Urban Sports Scene for ages. A Yeti Deuces. We are out. Peace.